Washington Post, terrific story on congressmen running back in the 1970s and 80s and one running basically in the present day. They traced these two guys, Gary Myers, who was a Republican at the time, running in 1974 and then entered in Congress in 1975, and then Republican Mike Kelly from that same district running in 2010, and compared the two and see what they look like. First of all, Gary Myers, the Republican from yesteryear, was so much more liberal than the Republicans today. That wasn't the focus of the article, but it came screaming through the facts. He was in favor of raising the minimum wage. He was in favor of unions. He's from a very blue-collar town that used to be Democratic until he won the seat. But again, a Republican didn't mean the same thing back then. In fact, he thought the top income tax bracket should be 45%. If you told that to a Republican today, they'd jump off a building. 45%? Are you crazy? You should be down to 25%. 35 is too high. So now, of course, Mike Kelly in favor of the Paul Ryan plan that would gut Medicare, in favor of taxes being down at 25% for the top bracket, wants to get rid of the inheritance tax. Why? Because Mike Kelly's rich. And when Gary Myers ran, he wasn't rich. He was an engineer at a local plant, and he cared about the guys who were in that plant. But those are two anecdotal stories. But when you look at the overall numbers, it becomes even clearer. From 1984 to 2009, and that's the period in which the numbers match just right. Before there were different measurements, but since 84, there's been the same measurement for these two things that they looked at. The median net worth of a member of the House has more than doubled. So it used to be $280,000, which is still a ton of money, and that's, of course, adjusted for inflation. Now it's $725,000 per member. That's the average for the House. So that's a gigantic figure. Obviously, the average household is much less than that. In fact, from 1984 to 2009, the wealth of a median American family has declined from $20,600 to $20,500. That's according to the panel study of income dynamics from the University of Michigan. So while our income has gone down, congressmen's incomes have gone dramatically higher. Now, why? Part of that is related to what happens, in Congress, but actually their pay has gone down relative. When you adjust it for inflation, their pay used to be higher. It used to be $215,000, now it's $174,000. But that isn't the main issue. The main issue is, what does it take to get elected? And it takes a hell of a lot more money. So only rich people can run. If Gary Myers, who was working in a plant, wanted to run now, they'd laugh him out of town. Get out of here, man. What are you talking about? How are you going to run for office? Where are you going to get the millions of dollars that you need? Back then, they did cardboard signs. Their kids said that they, looked like they were running for high school president or student body president, etc. They would get people together in their kitchen. They at least had a shot at it, right? Today, good luck. In fact, here's another great fact from the Washington Post article. Campaign costs for Myers' 1974 campaign were $33,000. How quaint. Now, adjusted for inflation, that's $146,000. That is only 1/10 of the current average in the House. So the average House race now costs over $1.4 million and is 10 times larger, even adjusted for inflation, than it used to be back in 1974. So are you surprised that only rich people can run? Of course. Mike Kelly financed a third of his campaign with his own money from his car dealership. And I'm not saying anything against how Mike Kelly made the money. He's not a banker. He ran a car dealership. He worked hard. That isn't the issue, okay? The issue is, can an average American run for office these days? No, they can't, because where the hell are they going to find $1.4 million? And it's not just that they finance their own campaigns. They go to the country club where all their friends have money. Do all of your friends have $1.4 million lying around? Of course not. So now what's your chance of representing us? Very few, very little. So it's discouraging. And one other huge problem with this is that in an unrelated story, there was a great fact about how members of Congress who have a higher proportion of daughters were more likely to take liberal positions on women's issues. That was done in a 2006 working paper for the National Bureau of Economic Research, and that's also quoted in the same Washington Post article. And now, why am I telling you that? Because people govern based on their experience. If they have a lot of daughters, they think, hey, you know what? I care about women's rights. If they're incredibly rich, they care about what? The inheritance tax, like Mike Kelly's like, oh my God, it's my money and my dad's money and we run a car dealership. Obviously, the most important issue in America, inheritance tax. What? That affects like 0.01% of the population. Back in the day, Gary Myers, even though he was a Republican, thought the most important issue was the minimum wage because he worked with the guys who were getting minimum wage. And he saw that everybody in his district had, issues with how much that they were going to get paid, how they would get by. These guys in Congress can't relate to us because they are not us, unfortunately. Look at the disparity. The average household has $20,500. They've got $725,000. That's more than 30 times the average household's money. No wonder they don't relate to us. No wonder they don't give a damn. No wonder that they legislate based on where the money is, because one, they need the money to get reelected, and number two, it's because they're loaded, so they don't even know what you're going through. Gee, I wonder why there's an Occupy Wall Street movement that complains about our government that's out of touch.